we are now pleased to be joined by Detective Steve Anda of the Bloomington Police Department. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Well, you know, Detective Anda, we've never had you on the show before. Why don't you start by talking a bit about your role within the city's police department?
Well, I'm a detective with the Property Crimes Unit. I do arson investigation. I handle residential burglaries, and I'm also the polygraph examiner.
Okay. As the holidays come closer, that means more and more residents are getting out of town, and we want to talk some ways that residents can keep their houses looking occupied even when they're not home.
One way to do that is, first of all, if you've got a trusted neighbor to keep a watch on the house, to check it daily to make sure that there hasn't been a break-in to the house is one option. Also, if you've got a timer to put on your lights, if you have the lights on during the evening hours, it makes somebody probably think that you are not away from the residence. One thing you should always do if you're going out of town is stop your mail, stop the newspaper. Upon doing that, you don't have to tell them you're leaving town. Just say that you want to discontinue it for now.
Okay.
Another thing to do is, I always tell people this, that have been victims of burglaries, is also look in maybe installing a security system into your house prior to ever leaving on vacation. It's just an added way you can protect your house.
Okay. Now, one thing, Minnesota, obviously, the winters, there are lots of people that travel south for periods of time. What about, you know, your sidewalk and your snow, and are those kind of dead giveaways?
They are very dead giveaways. In fact, we've had burglaries where people have left and the snow builds up in the driveway. This is a very good sign for a burglar that nobody is home. Another thing that we suggest is when people do leave, if they're going to leave the state or go out of town, and if they are getting a ride to the airport, to possibly have somebody give them a ride. You use a taxi service or any other service, those people then know that you are leaving town. I'm not saying that there are people in the industry that may not be dishonest, but the thing is whenever you leave, they know then that you're gone.
Yeah, absolutely. What if you don't have someone that you trust necessarily to go in and out of your home? I know we kind of touched on it, but automatic lights or radios or things like that, is that something to look into and invest in? That
is something to look into, because if you have lights that come on and off in the evening, people might think somebody is still at home. Or if you've got a TV that you can set on a timer to come on and go off, it causes the noise. The other thing we suggest is when you do leave town or go on vacation, if you have vehicles in your garage, make sure you take the keys with when you go on vacation, or hide the keys. The reason for that is we have had burglaries where people have been gone for 2 weeks to possibly the whole winter, and if they're burglarized, the burglars find the keys, they can load all the belongings right into the car while it's parked in the garage. Then they take the vehicle and can use that vehicle to commit other crimes for a certain period of time before it's ever even reported stolen.
Yeah, if it's all winter,
yep.
You don't know your car's gone until you come back.
That's correct.
Well, prior to a trip, it's a good idea to check your home for weakness in possible entry points. What does that mean?
If a burglar is going to get into your house, he's going to get in. But the better the deadbolt lock, if you have things you can put across your window or get some kind of security glass, you can call companies to get maybe a more durable glass that's hard to break. Actually, a lot of our burglaries are done by forcing either a front door or back door. Okay. Even though you have a deadbolt, it's attached to sheetrock and to wood. You kick it hard enough, anything's going to break open. Okay. So, or you take a pry tool, you can also pry it open. So, I mean, if they're going to get in, they're going to get in. Again, like I say, a security system is probably your best bet.
But make it as hard as possible for them to
Correct.
get in.
Yes.
There are things that you can do to the exterior of your home. We talked about, lawn care in the summer or snow removal in the winter, but there are also other things that will kind of keep burglars from attempting a break-in. Talk a bit about some of those things as far as shrubs and lighting and stuff.
If you've got sensor lights on your garage, I would, people have always said, well, where should we have those sensor lights? If you've got like a 2-story house, try to get the sensor lights as high as can be, because those can be screwed out of their sockets if they can reach them. If they're high enough up where they can't reach them, then they can't defeat them.
Okay.
The other thing I would do is, if you've got windows in your garage and you're leaving cars behind, leave those windows so there's nothing in front of them, so that way if somebody does look in, they see cars there. That may prevent them from trying to break in, because they don't know if anybody's home or not.
Okay. And one thing that is very important for not just break-ins, but if there's a fire at the home or if emergency personnel need to get there at all, is a clearly marked address.
That's correct. You should always have your address mounted on the house or on a mailbox. We have had calls where patrol cars have arrived and can't find the address. If we can't find the address, we're not sure if we're at the right address.
Okay. Now, this is a big one. Social media, it has opened the doors to so much communication. And one tip that you suggest in the Bloomington Police Department is to let your travel plans be as minimally known as possible. Explain why social media is just destroying that.
Well, for instance, if you use Facebook and you post that you're leaving for California or Hawaii, wherever, that's open to the public if they've got Facebook too. Even though you're not sending it directly to them, they can go onto the Facebook account, and that is available to anybody. And if you've got it out there, they can see that. Once they see that, they then know you're gone. It's the same way with, for instance, we've had burglaries where people's names are in the newspaper during obituaries. And we've had burglars that'll look through the obituaries, look at names, and then see when the funeral is. While these people are attending the funeral, they sometimes go and burglarize their house because they know that they're not home at that time.
Okay. So really just maybe put up your pictures of Hawaii after you're home.
After you're back, then you can discuss it.
And one thing that we had talked about is that there are some insurance companies that aren't even paying out claims if they find out that you have advertised to the Facebook world or the Twitter world or whatever it might be that you have been gone.
And that's correct. Insurance companies, if there's some negligence on your part, they sometimes may not pay out. In fact, like I say, with these security systems, when you put security systems in, some of your insurance companies, I've heard, will actually lower your rate because you've gone one step further to protecting your property.
Absolutely. Now, you've been with the police department for quite some time. How common, in your opinion, are random burglaries? Or is it just really a crime of opportunity?
It's a crime of opportunity. Over the years, I've been involved in a number of arrests of burglars, and burglars I've dealt with 2 to 3 times that have gone to prison, gotten back out. Some have certain kind of MOs, as we call them, where we have one time, what he would do is cut the phone lines before leaving so that if somebody came home, they couldn't call police. We've got some that prefer to go through a front door. We've got some that prefer a back door. Some will take pillowcases, load the pillowcases with jewelry and items, and some take suitcases. So I mean, each burglar has their own way of doing things. But again, like I say, I've dealt with some more than once after they've gone to prison and gotten out of prison. So when I talk to them, they're pretty straightforward. They look for houses that they know somebody isn't home. They'll knock at a door, ring the doorbell, continue to knock, and if nobody answers, that's when they'll commit the burglary. If somebody comes to the door, they'll use excuses like, oh, I thought John Doe lived here, or I was looking for a certain address, this must not be it. They make some excuse, and people don't realize, they think that it's, the person made a mistake, and they don't call the police because they just think that the person was there and just had the wrong house.
Things like that make the camaraderie within a neighborhood that much more important. Looking out for your neighbors, watching for cars parked in the streets. The city uses events like National Night Out to bring together neighborhoods. Talk a bit about the Neighborhood Watch program and how someone could get that going on their street.
Well, anybody that's interested in becoming a block captain can contact, I believe it's Heidi Miller with our department, and she'll direct them to whoever is working the block captain unit at the time. Mm-hmm. Then what happens is once a block captain is set up, if, for instance, let's say we have a rash of burglaries in a certain area, that block captain will be responsible for taking the alerts that we send out and making sure that all the residents are aware what's going on in their neighborhood.
Okay. So really just bringing the neighborhoods together.
Correct.
It's important.
Yep.
Look out for one another.
That's true.
All right. Well, we'd like to thank Detective Steve Anda for being here with us today. If you'd like any of this information again or details on starting up a neighborhood watch, you can visit the city's website.